I'm just trying to bring up the charge on these LiPo cells. I have them rigged in series now, and I'm using this LifePO 10 amp LiPo charger and this ISDT Q6 Nano to monitor the individual cells. There they are. I won't leave it go above 3.4 volts per cell. Then I'll disconnect the charger, rig everything up in parallel, and try and use this little Q6 to balance. Now I'm just using a power block off an old PC, which I've just adapted to fit the XT60 for the little for the ISDT, so I can monitor the cells. But I also then have made up a Crocodile and XT60, so when I have the cells in parallel, I'll try and use this LED to balance the cells off, and I can't justify getting a power supply unit, so this little LED will have to do. Now all I'm doing here, this trying to get a bit of charge in, I'm doing it during the day while I'm here supervising things. There'll be no overnight carry on. And with this LED, everything is temperature wise, the room is about 13 degrees, so everything is okay. There's no overheating anywhere. The only thing is this charger, it does go up quite high, 62 degrees C. I know a lot of these smart chargers get quite warm. The spec on it says operating temperature up to 40 degrees C, but whether that's room temperature, I'll have to send a little query to these and just check what is the actual operating temperature max of the unit. I know these sort of smart chargers do get sort of warm with all the gizmos up there, but I'd just like to find out. I've just started to top balance now in parallel with this little ISDT. I've set it up for 3 amps, nice and easy, and the setting is up to 3.55 volts. So we leave that for some time to do its work. Now I'm just going to try this IMAX B6. I've had it for many years now, from my days of LiPo batteries and drones, but I saw on YouTube there was a way to go in and set it up for LiPo. So I just set it for 3 amps there and went around for 1S, and I'm going to see now whether she will work. Battery check, let's see. 1S. There we go. I just monitor that now. It's saying 3.51. We'll just keep an eye on that one. But that's another way to do it. Yeah, I just have this menagerie, from times past, but it did have a small, tiny crocodile clips, hard to fit on, but yeah, we see now. Because that's another way, I suppose. Did I need to buy that? Probably so, because that also has the power supply function. Could be handy if I'm just trying to set up buck converters or that. Could be handy. But I'll leave this for now. So you can use the IMAX B6. Of course, this doesn't have the same ability to set the charge voltage. You select here the iPhone, it'll go up to 3.65, but it would have the balancing function. So you just have to keep an eye on it. I'm going to run it for a while now. They're roughly about 3.41 volts each cell. Okay, I'm just going to give it the final balance now. I've been coming up at 0.05 volts per stage. So charge LifePO 3.65 1S. Okay. When it gets to 3.65 and shuts down, the other thing I noticed, it has different colours for different stages. Sort of a browny colour for charging. When it gets to 365, the batteries will actually in fact be 3.6, so there's a 0.05 difference. Oh yeah, we'll have to go up here. I'm not balancing. So now we're at it. It'll ramp back down, and I think it goes to green then, and it starts beeping when it's done. That's it, done now. It's beeping. 3.65, maybe not easy to hold it, but we'll just see. It'll be something like 3.6. I'll go to this one here. Number 4, 3.61. Number 3, 3.61. Number 2, 3.61. And number 1. .61. Yeah, so it's there's a bit of a voltage drop in my cabling, but that's okay. Okay, I hear ya. Boxed up now. I went for the marine battery box. There's much room here now. I can't understand why these plastic battery box with the terminal lugs from China and that are so expensive. This one now, which is the smallest of them, was around 19 euros from the marine chandelier. Yeah, and it's nice and tidy. All I've got here now, it's hard to see it. I'm just keeping things very simple. I've just put a WSB, and it has a volt readout on it. I learned from a previous power station I built with deep cycle batteries to have the positive and negative posts at different locations, because with the other one I had them close to each other, right alongside, you know, and I blew the fuse once or twice. So I went overboard a bit. I put these clasps on. This comes with a strap, which would be sufficient, but would I do it again? Probably not. A lot of work with set bolts and that, but you know, it's fine, it's solid, and it's got the usual fine handles on either side to lift it. So that's her. I'm practically finished inside now. I just put that bit of sheet there. I'm just waiting for, I want to mount a fuse here. I'm just waiting for a fuse holder. Temperature sensor there, somewhere from the BMS. You can see it there. Keeping it simple. Now I went ahead and put an isolator switch here, again probably an overkill. Why? The previous power station again had a bigger battery box in this for a 32 ampere hour deep cycle, and I had put rocker switches on the outside for isolation, and one time there she had it in storage, and I must have knocked something up against the box. Unknown to me, the switch came on, and I had one of these digital low voltage units, which did its job. It shut the voltage down. I forget what the setting was, but of course it was drawing 40 milliamps, so over several weeks when I came to check, the battery was way down at between nearly 10 volts, so big rush to get it charged up again. So from that, I don't like putting switches on the outside anymore. Now I put this on the negative. First time I've ever put a isolating switch on the negative, because I don't quite understand this this BMS. Everything seems to be on the negative, and when I isolate, I don't know whether internally between it and the balance leads, it'll be drawing small portions of power, which over time could draw it down. I'd imagine the Bluetooth draws a bit, but I think you can switch that off. A lot of learning to do yet, but yeah, she's nicely secure in there now with packing that came with the in the box. So she's snug in there. I'll probably put a strip of timber here against the end of the battery and the box on both sides to make it more secure, but there's a fuse on the USB module there, so that's okay. Pleased with how it worked out. For dividers between the cells, I just use some of this plastic. I think it's used in kitchens for antibacterial, preparing food. It's nice and thin, so I use some of that. Though I don't know whether it's actually needed with this one, because they did put an extra wrapping around with their logo. It's quite a hard, durable plastic, so I suppose that was a double layer. So whether it was needed or not, I don't know, but I've added it in anyway. The app came up handy enough. You can see it there. She's fully charged, 13.9 volts, and the cells are well balanced. And I did check these voltages, and they are very, very close. The battery voltage is 13.9, so that's all good. The parameter settings, I have to learn a bit about them, but for now I just put the cell high volt protect at 3.5. I changed the low for now to 2.25, which will give the total 10 volt. I'll raise that up after I do a capacity check. I don't see myself going below 13 volts, maybe 12.9, 13 volts. And I probably will set the 3.5 to something like 3.4, 3.45, but that's into the future. I didn't go at any of the other settings other than the capacity. Put the capacity in as 70 ampere hours. So I left everything as it was. Yeah, so happy enough with that app. So all that's left now is to get the holder for the 40 amp fuse and do a capacity test. I've added a second set of balance leads. This one is for the ISDT Q6, so that from time to time I can monitor what's happening with the cells and if I need to do any bit of balancing or anything like that. So I'm keeping that there. I like this idea of just having been able to lift the cover and have a good look from time to time. If I'm going into storage, I'd have to shut off this Bluetooth. I don't know enough yet about this whole BMS, but if that's on, I take it would be drawing milliamps over time. I don't know whether the BMS, if you isolate on the negative, whether that shuts all power off. The only thing I wasn't happy about, disappointed with, was this spanner, Amazon Basics, because the spec was for 4 Newton meters to tighten down the set bolts onto the battery posts, and I started, but I knew something wasn't right. I had set it correctly on the scale and locked it, and but when I was tightening, I said this isn't right. 4 Newton meters isn't an awful lot. So I set it back to 2.5, the lowest it will go. So I ended up just going the old way by feel, just to make sure everything is tight. But quite honest with you, once you have the spring washers flattened out, you're as good as they are. So yeah, disappointed with that. And then I got a
I got a bolt and a nut and a bit of plate, and I put it into the vice, and I said I'll set it for 4 Newton meters. I could be still there. I was swinging it. So that clearly is faulty, so it'll be going back. I only bought it for this job, so annoyed with that. I have one all the time, but it's a bigger torque wrench, so I got a small one just for this. So that was the only thing that didn't go to plan. But I'm a lucky camper that I didn't keep at it, because I'd say I would have stripped the threads out of the aluminium blocks. So lucky boy, I stopped. Yeah, so that's Amazon Basics. But I'm surprised, because before I purchased, I watched a couple of YouTube videos, and there was one, I don't know, it was a German chap. I couldn't understand what he was saying, but he had like a test digital block that he could put on, and he was testing this against a high grade one, and from what I could gather, it was very much within the spec. But there's clearly something wrong with this bucker. When I do the capacity test, I'm just going to look at the overall costs and justification, and what I intend to use it for. Bye for now.